Hello everyone, it is Jayden and welcome to The Alpha, the show where we talk about the hottest topics in pop culture and sports. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button on the video, and if you enjoy my commentary and myself truly as always, be sure to tap that subscribe button and to hit that notification bell to get notified when all my videos go live. I love you guys so much. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See ya. If you guys have been living under a rock, Joe Burrow, star quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals, is out with turf toe for 3 months. It's devastating. This guy, and I can say this because I'm a huge fan of Joe Burrow. I have been on the record for saying Joe Burrow is number 2. If you ask me your top 5, top 4 quarterbacks, top 3 quarterbacks per se that you would want to start a team, a year ago I've become more of I've started to love Josh Allen a lot. But if you asked me that like last year, number 1 would be Patrick Mahomes and number 2 would be Joe Burrow. This is how much love this is how much I thought about Joe Burrow. I've just been a Joe Burrow guy. But it seems like he has the opportunity and he is in the same conversation as Andrew Luck. Granted, he's did something that Andrew Luck never did. He's been to a Super Bowl. He should have. You can argue that Joe Burrow and them should have won the Super Bowl if they just had just a little bit of defense. But something that is going to keep Joe Burrow from ultimately winning a Super Bowl is his health. This is the injury history for Joe Burrow the last couple of years. In 2020, this was his rookie season. He tore his ACL, MCL, and PCL and meniscus. He jacked his knee up. 2021, he dislocated his pinky. 22, MCL sprain. He had an injury in his first 3 years. 2023, torn wrist ligament. Missed the rest of the season. Last year, he was relatively healthy the whole year. And when he was fully healthy all year last year, he had the best stats at the quarterback position in all of football. And if he had somewhat average defense, they could have made some noise in the playoffs, but he just didn't have a defense. And then we have this year. Not even 3 games into the NFL season, Joe Burrow is hurt again. He has a grade 3 turf toe, and he is going to be out 3 months. And by the timetable that Adam Schefter gave on First Take, that is roughly the week before Christmas. So essentially, Joe Burrow is not going to be on the Bengals for a good while. And that is essentially 12 weeks. So based on how good Browning plays, and I think Browning is a very good, capable backup, I think you can win some games with Browning. But we got to be totally honest. If they are not in contention for a playoff spot, we're not going to see Joe Burrow for the rest of the year. What's the point in bringing out Joe Burrow when you're eliminated from the playoffs? And I think it might be, and I think myself, it would be pretty much idiotic if you would roll Joe Burrow out there if you had circumstances outside of the team to get into the playoffs. And what I mean by that is you're depending on other teams to get into the playoffs and you make Joe Burrow play. I think that would be pretty idiotic because you got to protect Joe Burrow at all costs. But a lot of this has to do with the Cincinnati Bengals. This is going to be the norm for Joe Burrow's career if they do not upgrade the O-line. They have did right by Joe Burrow. They extended not only Jamar Chase, but they extended T. Higgins. But they have not been able to get Joe Burrow a capable O-line. You can't. And this is a stat that I just pulled as of today because they just posted it. Joe Burrow. I don't know why I did that. Joe Burrow, and here's the graphic. Joe Burrow has been sacked 27 more times than Andrew Luck in 15 fewer games. Luck retired at 29 to injuries. Joe Burrow is 28. So in 15 fewer games, Joe Burrow has been sacked 27 more times. This is a horrific, absolutely horrific graphic for Joe Burrow to be any type of associated with. Because we know how talented Andrew Luck was. We know how good Andrew Luck was. And we know that Andrew Luck was so good that he could have won a Super Bowl one day. He was argued as one of the best quarterbacks. He was so smart. Great guy. So easy to love. But yet, his injuries derailed his career. And from my knowledge, granted, Andrew Luck was way before my time when, I was young, pretty young when Andrew Luck was playing football. I can say confidently that Joe Burrow has experienced more injuries than Andrew Luck. I think Joe Burrow might be more, psychologically more strong-minded than Andrew Luck. Just Andrew Luck was so out of it with his injury and stuff that he never felt like he was 100%, and he gave it all up. He just didn't think it was worth it on his career. The psychological takeover, everything, it took him over. I think Joe Burrow is, he has the mentality and ability to come back stronger, but this is a very horrific graphic. If I am the owner, if I am a fan, and if I've saw this graphic, I would be making it a priority as the organization of the Cincinnati Bengals to get Joe Burrow the best. Pull what Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles did with the Bears. Do whatever you got to do. Get the O-line right. Granted, through 2 games, it seems like the Bears has not fully got it right, but at least made it work somewhat. You got to give Joe Burrow a O-line. It is just very disappointing to even see somebody as good as Joe Burrow, and we know the potential he can have. We know Joe Burrow has the potential to hold a Lombardi one day. That's the type of ceiling that Joe Burrow has. If it weren't for a play here or there, Joe Burrow would be a Super Bowl champion right now. We're talking about a guy in Joe Burrow who has single-handedly took it to Patrick Mahomes multiple times. He has been considered Patrick Mahomes' kryptonite, but he has not been able to get to that point because of external circumstances outside of his hand. Something's always gone wrong for Joe Burrow in this organization. The O-line's bad. You don't have a defense. Coaching. It's just always something with Joe Burrow. With last year, how great he played, he was phenomenal. If he was on a winning team and they made the playoffs, he would have easily been the MVP over Lamar Jackson. It's just the fact that they didn't make the playoffs. Joe Burrow had one of the best statistical seasons a quarterback can have. But they didn't make the playoffs because they were inept of a defense. Joe Burrow is a top 5 to 3 quarterback, but I don't know if he'll ever get back to the Super Bowl. You just cannot trust the health of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has not given us the ability to give him the benefit of the doubt. You saw the list. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. In the 6 seasons he's been active, this is his 6th year as the quarterback in the NFL for the Cincinnati Bengals. He has only been healthy for 1 full season. So 5 out of the 6 seasons he has been injured for some reason. 2 out of the 5 has been for the season. And this might be his 3rd. Depending on where the Bengals are at whenever the season is over with. Now we can give just a quick breakdown of their schedule. And I think Jake Browning is a very competent quarterback. And let's just look at their schedule. They're 2-0, which is a great start. At Minnesota, I think they can win that game. At Denver, you can win that. Detroit, I think there's a chance. Green Bay, it's a loss. Pittsburgh, at Pittsburgh, you can win that game. Jets, you can win that game. Chicago, you can win that game. Pittsburgh, I think you will trade off with Pittsburgh. So you'll go 1-1 against Pittsburgh. You can beat New England. I think you could trade with Baltimore. You lose against Buffalo. And I think you can beat all those last 3 teams. So their schedule is pretty favorable. It really is. They have a pretty favorable schedule. But if this is a sign to come, and we saw the stat with Andrew Luck, if I am a Bengals fan, I'm absolutely concerned. And I don't know if the Bengals will ever get back to a Super Bowl. Just because where Joe Burrow is at in line with the amount of sacks and injuries he's had in his career. And it's just a bad thing to see. But that's pretty much all I had to say about that. I want to know your comments down below.